Uh-oh. Here comes trouble.
Coming to you from Twin Town Sports Central, it's the Grovcast. Eric Grover here, Wahpeton Daily News Sports Editor. And what a week of sports we had. Let's get right into it because I respect your time. Let's start with high school football, where both the teams in the area had a rough weekend, to say the least. Breckenridge Cowboys running into a buzzsaw named Hawley, 40-0. Oh, not good, not good. Didn't have a chance to see that one, but Hawley's offense just racked up the points, to say the least. Breckenridge coming back with a home game. It's homecoming on Friday, and they'll be taking on War Road. A lot better having War Road here than traveling up to War Road. Is that right, guys? Yeah, I'd say so. And the Huskies, I was in Grafton on Friday, and the score of 30-6, the Huskies losing, would make the game appear to be not as close as it was. The Huskies played well with Grafton, the Spoilers. I like that name, Spoilers. They played with them all throughout the first half. It was a scoreless game. Both teams making excellent defensive plays. I was impressed by the Huskies' defense. They were shutting down Grafton, and that passing attack, 50-mile-an-hour winds helped. But right before halftime, Grafton connects on a 40, 50-yard strike to open the scoring, and it just kind of went downhill from there. Grafton took the momentum, and Wahpeton just never got a chance to get that offense rolling the way that they wanted to. The trio of running backs that Wahpeton has didn't find a lot of open ground. They did on occasion. They did have to run over some people, as Zane Medhog did with that touchdown. Grafton had some big guys and gave that line a workout that they haven't seen a lot of this season. So Wahpeton back, looking for a win to get into the state playoffs, and they got a real good chance with Griggs County here at home on Thursday night. Some Thursday night football, so sure to pay attention to that. And got to give some love to the science school football team on a 3-game win streak. They are playing well and scoring a lot of points. You got to attribute some of that to the depth that they got on both sides of the ball. And quickly, want to talk some science school volleyball. Wow, these girls are playing well. Entering the national rankings. Number 19 in the country. Congratulations goes out to Jane Pace and the girls. I didn't see this coming. I didn't think that they would be as good as they are this season. They lost so many seniors. I'd say 80% of the roster is freshmen. And while talented, I thought it would take another year to get all these girls clicking on the right page. But no, it didn't take that long. Took down a couple of nationally ranked teams in Kirkwood and Des Moines area over the weekend, and they are playing well. So keep it up, girls. Keep it up. Moving right along the Grovecast, it's time for our weekly pro sports discussion. And who better to do that with than Landon Kafka of the News Monitor. How you doing, Landon?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Well, before we get going into some NFL and NBA discussion, you wanted to talk a little bit about your Warbirds, who are still undefeated.
Yep, the Wyndmere Lidgerwood Warbirds will be hosting Napoleon, who I kind of mistakenly, not really, put in the paper that number 1 might be hosting number 2. I put a question mark in the paper, so don't get up all on me. And
making excuses.
The lead said if both teams win, but actually Napoleon took their first loss of the season on Friday against Hankinson.
Yeah.
So a surprise upset there. Napoleon, obviously still a really good team going into Wyndmere. If Wyndmere wins, they'll be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs.
Well, the game has obviously lost a little luster, but still really important.
It'll still be a big game.
Can you talk about what Wyndmere is looking for at home?
Wyoming, hopefully, they'll be able to control the ball late in the season. They've been going to the ground attack, but, Ilias is still a good deep threat. He had 2 big touchdowns the last game I saw, their last home game. He's still a deep threat. The running game with Adam Bell, the quarterback, and Luis Vasquez has been unstoppable around the edge, so we'll see what happens against Napoleon.
Yeah, those skill players have just been great. How about the defense?
The defense has been, okay at times. One of the last games I saw, I think it was against Lemoore. They're a really good running team, and they were able to move the ball up and down the field pretty well against the Warbird defense. But I think that offense is, it's kind of like the way of the NFL in college. They can outscore just about anyone, I think.
Best defense is a good offense.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move on right into, you want to start NBA? Talk them real briefly?
Sure.
Well, Stern just canceled the first 2 weeks of the season, so you kind of got your wish.
Yeah.
When are they going to get around to playing games?
Hopefully they'll, go until they get about a 50-game season, just like the last time they had a lockout, I think, 94, 95.
Yeah.
It'll probably make the NBA season a lot more interesting. They'll be rusty, but maybe a few of the guys will be playing over in Europe, so at least some of the players won't be as bad.
I think some of these guys aren't going to come back at all. Not your top cream of the crop guys like Kobe, who may or may not be playing in Italy, for a little bit. He'll come back. Your LeBrons, your Dirks.
I think there are guys that are under contract, so if they have a contract that says they're playing for an NBA team, they'll have to come back. They'll have to have a clause in their European contract. But
that's a good point.
If they're free agents, guys that are free agents right now that you're saying, are the lower tier, mid-tier guys, you could definitely see some of them playing out the season in Europe.
And even longer than that, I think. It's only a matter of time before these European leagues start grabbing some of the best American talent and keeping them for themselves.
Well, I think it'll be...
Do you see that? Like, Darren Williams has been playing in Turkey, I believe, for like 2-3 months now.
Yeah, I think all it takes is money, really. I mean, that's why the NBA is the strongest basketball league. It makes the most money. The players get paid the most. But I think as you see European teams become more popular, they can market to a worldwide audience of basketball fans, just like the NBA can.
And even China.
Yeah, and so that means more money for those leagues and better players.
Yeah. Well, I hope they figure something out, because it'd be nice to see some pro game this season.
Yeah, at least, hopefully they come back from time for the playoffs.
All right. We're recording this on Tuesday, and the MLB playoffs are going on. It's a travel day for the Brewers, and they need a chance to regroup a little bit after that disastrous loss at home, thanks to Albert Pujols.
Yeah, Pujols was going beast mode in that game. You can't stop that.
He was stealing the Brewers' thing. The Brewers were going beast mode, and then I believe Detroit's leading right now in Game 3, and that's a game that they need to win because they're already down 2-1. What do you see as your World Series matchup?
Well, I think the Rangers, I think they'll beat Detroit. I don't really have any factual information to base this on.
No,
just a feeling I have. Yeah, I think Texas, the depth in Texas is a little bit better than in Detroit as far as the pitching staff goes. I think Detroit has the best pitcher in Verlander, but there's only one of him.
And the best hitter in Cabrera. And that's kind of why I'd rather face Texas. I know that they have more quality guys, but they don't have as many elite guys. You know what I'm trying to say?
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think, in the postseason when things come down to it, you really need, that depth in the bullpen, things like that to win a championship.
Now, who's your NLCS pick? And be careful here.
The NLCS, I don't know. I think it's tough because the Cardinals have Pujols. It's the same argument, kind of the Detroit argument. Do you have the two guys that are amazing, or do you have a decent lineup from top to bottom?
I think it's going to go to 7 games either way.
I think that is a good possibility.
I just, it's the Brewers' one chance, so
Grover's a little biased towards the Brewers.
I'm biased, so I'm not really going to weigh in too much. Well, let's turn straight to your bias with the Vikings, who got their first win finally.
Finally got a victory. I enjoyed the gentle booing that Donovan McNabb received every time.
It was gentle boo.
It was a gentle boo every time he put it at someone's feet. That's starting to wear on Vikings fans, I think. It's not quite a Tim Tebow situation. We're all like Ponder, but we obviously know that's the future. And this year, with the Lions and the Packers running away with the division, it seems like this year we should be maybe playing for the future.
A hilarious moment happened during that game. It was when McNabb scored that rushing touchdown, and nobody wanted to cheer for him. They were like, I wish he would have thrown an incomplete pass instead.
It was a muted cheer. Everyone was like, all right.
It was a gentle cheer.
It was gentle cheer, gentle boos. It's all right.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the big games for Week 6 here. Those Lions, who refuse to lose, have a great defensive test with San Francisco.
Yeah, who would have thought the game of the week this week might be Detroit and San Francisco? You could probably win some
season of that.
You could probably win some money on if you'd have bet that early in the season in Las Vegas. But this week it looks like San Francisco's got a really good run defense. Obviously, Detroit's main attack is not the run. So we'll see how San Francisco's secondary holds up against the Lions.
Well, this will be their biggest challenge yet, probably on both sides. I believe the 49ers have 3 or 4 wins. They're playing well.
Yeah.
The best team in the NFC West, which doesn't mean much, but still means something. I don't know. I guess Detroit is for real. You can't argue against that at this point.
I definitely think they, proved what they had these last couple of weeks. So we'll see if, they can keep Megatron going.
Megatron. I like it. Simba. He's the Lion King.
He's not.
Calvin Johnson.
Then he only has
I don't like Megatron.
He only has 1 degree of separation from Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and that is not an association you have with Calvin Johnson.
I think it's a good thing.
I'm not sure.
All right, and the Vikings are going to Soldier Field. How do you feel about that?
I hope that they win.
All right. Landon Kafka, everybody.
I'm not so
optimistic
about it.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I hear a faint whistle in the distance, and I believe the Chicago Bears just got another false start penalty. So it's definitely possible. The Bears are a team that beats themselves, and that's
I think they have a little weakness on the offensive line there that is about the only place the Vikings are capable of exploiting any team. So
and that might make it an even matchup.
Yeah, hopefully they have a chance that way.
All right, and then the Packers get a cupcake with the Rams coming into Lambeau, so that looks good. All right,
that could be a trap game.
Oh yeah, is
trap
that right?
game. The Rams
could be.
I'm not going to put a stake Newton on that one, but it could be a trap game for the old Packers.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Sam Bradford's due this week.
Yeah, well, speaking of, Sam Bradford and Matt Ryan really underperforming this year. Come on, Matt Ryan. You're killing me on fantasy. All right, boys and girls. I'm sorry to tell you that's going to do it for another episode of the Grovcast. I'm going to leave you with this 80s classic, remixed by a rapper in the 2000s. And thank Landon Kafka, my guest this week. Hey, we'll catch you next week on the Grovecast.